Bart, how's it going?
Cool. Go on, man.
All right. Already warmed up, already done some training this morning, I hope.
Oh, yes.
Michael and I have just done an hour of Bagua. Well, more so Michael, I was sort of more sitting here going, oh, just your little finger needs to be more that way, that way. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Right.
All
Lots
right.
of exercises. Put in a kettle.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Okay, let's get into it, shall we?
Yeah, man. Go on.
All right, let's move. Bend the knees. Open the hands to the sides. Stretch your arms out, standing onto your toes. Chest up. And down. Same again. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And out. Notice I'm pausing at the top of the movement to really engage all the muscles, to really go stretch, stretch, stretch. Reach, reach, and then calmly come back down. Let's bring the hands up the front this time. Same sort of thing, but just lifting straight up the front. And down the back. Same again. Drop into a lunge. Start to squat up and down, forward and back. Press your heel down, lift your heel up, move that rear ankle. Open and close your hips. Stretching and lengthening through that back leg. Just generally moving around all the different positions you can get yourself into from this stance. Feeling some heat come through your legs, through your glutes, all the way through. Switch sides. Again, same sort of thing. Ups and downs, forwards and backs, opens and closes. Press the heel, push the heel over of that rear leg. Just squiggle your body around, bringing some blood. We need blood. Blood and oxygen through the muscles. Open and close the spine. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Neutralize your spine, nice and straight. Hinge forward, either to 45 degrees if you're not comfortable going further, or bring it right down to 90 degrees. A little bit of a stretch in your hamstrings here, and then relax your spine so it hangs down. This is where we shake it all about. And then straighten your back and relax your back. Straighten your back, open your arms, keep your back straight, relax everything down. Straighten your back, open your hands to the rear, relax everything down. Straighten your back, open your hands to the front, relax everything down. Straighten your back, lift your hand to the front corners, and relax everything down. Remember, you can come back up to 45 degrees at any moment if you're finding it too difficult here. Now bring it to the sides, to the back, to the front, and just swim. Well, more of a snow angel than swimming, I suppose. Link your fingers behind. And relax your spine. Relax your arms and fold up. Open and close again. A wriggle in that closed position. So keep yourself in a ball and just wriggle around to feel that stretch, particularly coming through the side of your hips, through this region. Let's crawl down. Slide down onto the floor. Walk your hands forward. Bring one foot forward. So it's just sitting there. This is the one we do all the time. You should be all quite familiar with it now. So your front foot here is turned out at 45 degrees. Point your rear toe and then just lengthen through the back leg and sink through the front leg. So you're opening up the front hip through the inner side and opening up the back hip through the front side. Just supporting your weight with your hands and just moving your body around, feeling out the different morning creaks and groans. Try and turn right into the movement towards your front leg. So you feel that nice stretch down the side of your body and into this glute a little bit. Then bring it back to the front. Again, just lengthening and moving. If you want to go lower, you can put your elbows on the ground. And then come up. Twirl yourself around to the other side. And sink down through that hamstring. So I'm standing on the ball of the foot of my short leg. Lifting the toes up on the long leg. Lengthening through there. Again, moving around a little bit. It's not a static stretch for the morning. Bend that front knee just a fraction and sink onto it just a little bit more. Particularly working on opening the hip here. So you see the hip is closed at the moment, it's turned inward. Now it's straight up. Now see how it's facing just a little bit, not too much. See how the knee and the toe are facing just a little bit out. So there are your three variations, straight, in or out. Just wriggling around. Okay, crawl yourself over to your other leg. Into the same position on the other side. Again, lengthen that rear toe. Stretch through. If there's only one thing I can do in the morning for my legs, it's this one. If you're short on time, just sink down. I always feel so much better after doing this particular movement. It just hits everything all in one motion. Turn towards that front leg. Get that stretch coming down through the side of your core. So really bend your body up so you're compressing on this top side to lengthen that bottom side all the way down through to the hip. Back to the front, and again sinking and moving. Again, if you want to go lower, you can go onto the elbows. And then stand up, spin it around, and sink down onto that hamstring again, the other hamstring. Again, just moving it around a bit, feeling out where your tight spots are. Bend that front knee just a fraction, sink into it a little more. Make sure you don't forget to open that knee out a little bit. You can turn this knee, obviously, depending on where you're going. So move your whole body in this position, using your hands to support you. Sit down on the floor. Fold one leg under your body, so underneath onto your bum. The other leg over the top, like so. And then hug that leg. Pull it in. Try to downwardly rotate your pelvis. So like you're trying to stick your bum out. Your bum won't stick out, of course, in this position. You're too folded up, but it's sort of, it's like you're trying to push your bum backwards a little bit, and that'll really bring that opening up into that glute. And again, see, it's a moving stretch. I'm not just staying static. I'm wriggling around, feeling out where my tight spots are. Switch sides. Fold it in. And again, hug and wriggle. Hug and wriggle. Bring your feet together. Pull your body forward. Trying to push your knees down towards the ground. Don't worry if your knees are up like this. Just use your elbows a little bit and open them out. Don't force it. Just a gentle movement. Never do forceful stretches first thing in the morning. Wriggling a little bit. Opening your feet out. Pushing your hips forward. Pushing from the back. Pushing from your hands at the back to keep your back nice and straight. Open up as wide as you can manage. Keep your hands behind you, just coming into that position. Again, not doing anything too extreme, just lengthening and opening up. Let your legs come in just maybe 10, 20 degrees and do the same thing, just moving around. Again, if you can't stay straight, then keep your hands behind you, as I always say, to support your body. If you can stay straight, then let your body, when I say straight, I mean the spine straight. I can lean forward, of course, but I'm not hunching my back. And then last one, bend your knees like so. Sink forward into that position. Grab your heels if you can, pulling it down. It's just a slight bend in the knees. Try and pull your foot straight in. Okay, just get it in as far as you can. Maybe it only comes to here. If it doesn't come any further, then use your hand to pull it in. But get it in as far as you can without using your hands. Now your other foot, you're aiming to just plop it up like so. You may not be able to do that, of course. You might find you just can't get your body weight forward for whatever reason. So you may be a little bit lacking of mobility or strength. So put your fingertips behind you. Use your hands as little as possible, but as much as you need to. Push yourself forward and then bring yourself into the stance, and then you're into your squat. Okay. Right. We're going to do some Taiji posture repetitions today. Last night we did a really good class on just this movement. The step, essentially. We did do some of the hand parts as well, but we primarily focused just on the step, and I really enjoyed that class. I just felt like by doing only that step for, must have been at least probably 40 minutes or something, because I mean we did a warm-up and I did a couple of other things, but it was the majority of the class. And yeah, I felt myself, after having done that movement so many times repetitively like that, even after 25 years of practicing the form, I felt just that little bit stronger in the movement, a little bit more stable and balanced. So, of course, the less you have practiced, if you've not been training for as long, you're going to feel an even better difference in your body. So we're going to do something similar to that this morning, but with a different posture throughout the form. We'll start off with single whip. Okay, we're just going to, first of all, just do single whip several times, just drilling it through, nothing particular to think about, just doing the posture, left and rights. So let's start from here. So as if we've just done sit back ready, fishes in 8, and we're coming out to here. Okay, so my right foot is obviously facing this front wall in front of me, and my left foot is turned in about 45 degrees in my power stance. Okay, and I've just finished fishes in 8. This is our starting point. Here we go. In breath. Out breath. In breath. Out breath. Let's do it again. We'll do it the same side a few times and then the other side a few times. In breath, open up. Out breath, close down and sink. In breath at the end when the hand lifts up. And out breath. Again. Let's try the reverse side. So left foot facing the front wall now, or facing me in your case. Right foot turned in slightly. One more time. Okay, so the main focus of today's class is going to be the legs. You already know the hands. Obviously, we could do a lot of details about the hands as well. There's a lot of little intricacies there, but my main focus for today is going to be the legs, the core, the stability, the posture of the movement. So, if you were in last night's class, this will be some similar stuff, but how to apply it into single whip. And if we have time, we'll do brush knee twist step as well with the same principles. So I really want you to think about, I'll do it facing you now. You're in that stance with the hair in your mouth. You're in that stance I want you to think 3 things. Sink, tuck, lift. Remember, the foot with single whip comes off the ground flat, like so. So there's a little bit of weight in that front foot. First thing we've got to do is sink. Sink, 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 sink. As we're sinking, you're making sure that that pelvis is tucking. And it's even a little bit more tuck because there's relaxed tuck and then there's engaged tuck. When do we engage the tuck compared to relaxing the tuck? If you're in a front-weighted stance, you're always going to be engaged because if you relax, your bum will stick out because of the stretch in the back leg and you won't get that stretch. So you've got to engage the tuck anytime really that you're in a front stance. I mean, there's those times where it eases off and then comes back in and so on, but yeah, the basic stance would be a tucked position. If you're in a back-weighted stance, however, a back-weighted stance is equivalent to when we do our Qigong. So in which case the lower back should be just totally flat, relaxed. The core is soft because when you bend your knees, see now I've got a little S in my lower back. When you bend your knees, the pelvis should just fall under. That's what we're aiming for anyway. You might have a lot of tension in your lower back, in which case you bend your knees and your bum stays there. It stays sticking out. So in which case you do have to engage your core to sort of coax it under. Come on, under here. Eventually that will all loosen out and then you'll just sit there and that's where your spine sits. It's the same concept as, I don't know, your shoulder, for example, sitting in the right spot without thinking about it. My shoulder just naturally sits there. If I have poor posture, I've been doing a lot of desk work or something like that, my shoulder might naturally sit here. You see, it's forwardly rotated like so. So I have to think, pull it back. I have to engage it and make it get used to that correct posture again. But if you've already got correct posture, you don't have to think about that. Your shoulders sit where they sit, same as my head. I don't go around all day thinking I have to keep my head on straight like this. Your head just stays straight. But of course, if you've been doing this for 10 years, okay, yeah, now I've really got to think, okay, keep my head straight until it resets. No different down here. So when you sink down, that's what should happen. If it doesn't, you've got to try and make it happen. That's all there is to it. You've got to stretch your body out, get your body, reset your body so that your body is back to as it should function naturally. That's what Taiji is all about, making us move back as we did when we were children. Okay, so when we're in a back-weighted stance like this, you see, the legs are still both to the front. They're both curved to the front. They're bent to the front. There's no rear leg. See, if there's a rear leg stretched out, that causes the bum to want to stick out. So we have to pull it under to get that stretch and engage the movement. But back-weighted stances are the same principle as standing Qigong, in that it's very soft and relaxed. The other time we engage and really squeeze is when we lift a leg. Because when you lift a leg, there's weight hanging off your pelvis. So if you've got a weight here and this doesn't engage, the weight will push the pelvis down, sticking your bum out. So you've got to engage your core, pull it up to lift that leg. So you're using all of your core muscles to lift that leg, not just the one little muscle attaching from the bottom, causing all that concentrated pressure just on that one quadricep muscle. So that's where we have the sink, tuck, lift. Sink. Got to get all your weight, of course, off that foot. As you're sinking, your pelvis to begin with is just relaxed tucking, what I was talking about before, like in the Qigong. So it's just sinking. It's part of the sink. It's just naturally happening. But of course, as I said, also, it might not be naturally happening for you. You might be too tight. So you might have to consciously tuck that under even as you're sinking. But everyone has to consciously tuck and squeeze the core, particularly on that side of the leg that you're lifting, in order to lift that leg off the ground. Okay? So that's what we're going to practice to begin with. Let's do it as a mirror image to begin with. So if you stand here mirroring me, So you'll be standing on your left leg, facing me with your right leg forward, okay? So all I want you to do is sink, tuck, lift. Okay, try and feel your weight coming down through the heel of that standing leg. Engage your core. In here, nice and strong. And then put it back down. Switch sides. Make sure you're in the right stance to begin with. Don't just stand anywhere because we want to get used to this single whip positioning. So stand in the correct posture for single whip, which you're already very familiar with. So again, you've got a little bit of weight in that front leg. You're going to sink, tucking the pelvis, squeezing the core here, lifting that leg off the ground. Keeping your body nice and straight. Be careful you don't lean forwards or lean backwards when you lift up that foot. Switch sides again. Sink, tuck, lift. Switch sides, one more time the other side. Sink, tuck, lift. Okay, this time we're going to open the hips. So we're going to sink, tuck, lift, open. Sink, tuck, lift, open. Close. Keep the tuck on, keep the tuck, keep that lifting aspect. Keep your body nice and straight. Turn. There are two components happening here when I'm turning. I'm opening my standing hip, opening that hip all the way. Then my left hip is also opening out. So both of your hips are opening out. Okay? Sink, tuck, lift. Open both your hips as far as you can manage. And then your foot's in position for your arrow stance. Switch to the other side. Make sure that that standing foot is facing the front. If it's even just 1 inch turned out like that, you're not going to make it around into that step. You're going to end up buckling the knee or falling into the posture or something else. So turn that foot, that standing foot, all the way to the front. Sink, tuck, engage your core, lift just off the ground and open. Open both your hips up. Hips are both opening as far as they can. You should feel this area in the back of your hip, around the sides, squeezing and compressing because that's rotating your hips externally. So it's quite a strong movement. And of course, as we're doing that, that knee is staying in line with that toe. It's not buckling in at all. If you're struggling with the balance, you can do one of two things. Sink, tuck, lift. Touch your big toe on the ground. Okay? Now keep it lifting so there's no pressure on that toe. It's just giving me a tiny little bit of confidence and balance. So keep the tuck on. Don't let putting the foot down cause you to drop the tuck. Tuck everything up. Keep the toe on the ground. Now, slide your foot on the ground, like brush the ground as you open your hips. So you've got that little bit of stability. Switch sides. Try it again like that. Sink, tuck, lift. Touch the toe on the ground and draw a circle with your toe. Circle it around, opening up both your hips till your front foot is facing the wall. So your toes are pointing at 90 degrees to each other now. Now, if even that is too difficult, hold on to something. Give yourself a bit of balance, but always use that just the right amount. Just touch your fingers on it. Don't lean on it like this, then you're not learning anything. Try your best to keep your balance. Just use it just a tiny bit. Okay, when you feel yourself start to wobble, opening. So I could move my hand down to here, for example. Just feel out what works for you, especially towards the end. That's when you're, oh, it's going to get a bit difficult, so you can hold onto the wall there. Open your hips and place the foot. You can see a large component of why you're falling over, why you're not able to open your hips far enough, is because your muscles are too tight. And that's because they're too weak. They're not used to doing the movements that they're being asked to do. So one of the greatest ways to strengthen them is take the stress off them, or take certain stresses off them by holding onto the wall. So for example, you might be struggling in this position to get your hip fully open to 90 degrees. Okay? You might find you're going here and then you're like, oh gee, I just can't. You physically can't open it up. But then you hold onto the wall and you say, okay, there's 90. Oh look, there's a nice little thing to put my hand on. And now I go, oh, I can do it now. Why can I do it now? I can open my foot. I can open to 90 degrees. Because all the muscles around here which need to open, they're not going like this anymore. Because when you're standing on one leg and you're not used to it, you're worrying about the balance. All these muscles are tightening up and they're restricting your range of motion. So you need to get those muscles more comfortable with the movement before you can open up that range of motion. So give yourself some support. Open it out. Open it right up. Place the heel and then bring it back again. Close it right in. Open it right out. Full 90-degree step. Place it. You'll feel it right in the side of your glute. Starting to flex. Keeping that tuck on, remember. Don't start thinking just about the opening. See, now I'm thinking, oh yeah, open it up. But my bum's sticking out again. I didn't have that tuck on. So tuck it under. Open it out. Place the foot. Bring it back. Keep your hand on that thing. So you're getting two main things here. Your standing thigh is getting a workout from being squatted. And your hips are getting a workout from opening up and closing up. And opening up and closing up. Let's try the other side. Again, hold on to something if you need to. Sink, tuck, lift, opening up, placing the heel, closing up, keeping that tuck on. Tuck, 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 tuck. Place, untuck. No, don't untuck. I meant to say bring your foot back in. Keep it tucked. Open, place, bring it back. Especially when you're placing that foot, you'll feel it right in the side of that front glute. Okay, let's go back to doing single whip now. A few more repetitions each side with those stepping elements. So obviously, do your hand elements as well. Again, if you're a little bit wobbly, feel free, as we're doing the whole posture, to slide that foot on the ground. That's actually how I teach it to stark beginners nowadays. I don't even tell them it's a step, because it tends to be, any teachers out there who might be watching, when you tell a group, different sometimes if it's a private class, but still can happen. But especially in a group, if you say, right, this is the move, but if you can't do it, here's an easy version for you. You see? No matter how I say it, it's going to sound like that. It's going to sound like, oh, you can't do it properly, so you need to do it the easy way. Then that person is, even if they're really struggling, they're like, oh, everyone else is doing it the right way. I'll just try my best to do it the right way. Then they don't learn the right stuff. They've got too much of a ego bruising to say, yep, I'm a beginner. I can just drag the toe. So instead, just teach everyone like that. Teach everyone to do the toe on the ground. okay? And then if you see someone, you know, really doing it perfectly balanced, the next thing you tell the group is, try to slide the foot on the ground, but have the least amount of pressure possible, like your toe is just barely touching the ground. As close to that as possible. See, that doesn't change anyone's movements, because the person who is balanced will brush the toe on the ground. The person who's a little less balanced, they can still use a bit more pressure on that toe, because you can't see the difference. Only I can feel the difference. So they won't feel self-conscious that everyone else is doing it better than they are, or something like that. Okay, come on. Yeah, so keep that in mind. With any lessons that you're giving, don't say this is how you do it and then this is the easy way. Just give the easy way to start with. I mean, unless you know your students, in which case you might know that they'll be able to handle it. But yeah. Right, so let's try that. Same position that we were in before. We're going to do alternating sides this time. So, nice big circle. Around. Sink, tuck, lift, and drag that toe on the ground. Maintaining your balance. Then just at the end, you flick it up so it places onto the heel. And then forward. What is it, Gabby? Do you have a sore finger? Okay, other side. Come on, Gabby. Come on, you stand there. Do single whip, okay? Same thing. Open it up. Close it up. Sink, tuck, lift. And just keep your toe on the ground. Slide it around. Feel how much more stable you feel having that toe on the ground with the child trying to knock you over. Then just at the end of the movement, just turn that toe stance into a heel stance and move forward. She's all right. Okay? So if you feel a little bit of difference there, when you're doing it, it's a good guide, a gauge as to how balanced are you when you're doing single whip. If you do single whip and you're like, yeah, it feels, feels good, nothing wrong with it. But then you do it with your toe on the ground and you're like, oh, yeah. You just feel that little bit more centered with your toe on the ground. A little bit more grounded. That then gives you a gauge as to how far you've got to go with your foot off the ground. Because you want to be able to get this feeling of centeredness, even if your foot is off the ground, that same level of stability and centeredness when your foot is off the ground. Let's try it again. Sink, tuck, lift, but just lift until the toes touching the ground. Turning your center, turning your center. Left hand is extending. And then just at the end, up, change your foot to the heel, and then through. So there's only that one little moment at the end where your foot is actually off the ground completely, changing from toe to heel. Good job on the toe. Well done, Gabby. You're good at toe stances. Okay, again. Sink, tuck, lift. Slide that toe. Drag that toe along the ground. Extend that front arm. Just at the end. Up. Toe comes up to place the heel while you're just holding a static position and then through. See, once you find that balanced point, it's much more difficult, of course, to hold your balance whilst you're moving. So you come into that position with that little bit of stability, da 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 da. Right at the end, you just change the foot. And even there, a beginner may find they'll stand there and kind of, fall a little bit because they're still using that heel. So you tell them just gradually try to get it to the point where you can lift the foot and slowly place the heel. so that there's no dropping. But it doesn't matter if a beginner right at the beginning does drop into that foot, because it takes time to strengthen your body. Don't be too strict about that particular element. Again. That's the special trip the child technique. See that? That was a special, you saw that? Perfect timing. She thought she'd get over it. Nope. Ha! Trip over the foot. Other side. It's very good for your Zen training to be able to maintain balance and stability whilst you have children running around screaming at you. Ah, see, she's evading my foot now. See, she's learning, she's learning. Good job, Gabby. Same again. Sink, tuck, lift. She's helping me train my Zen. One more time, the other side. Okay, now let's try one round each side, keeping your foot off the ground this time, so the full proper stepping action. See what you feel, see what differences you feel when you do it really with the foot off the ground. Right from the beginning, pick up your foot. Other side. Sink, tuck, lift. Now another couple of rounds with the toe on the ground again. Drag the toe again. Sink, tuck, lift. Just keep the toe on the ground. Opposite side. Keep that tuck on, keep that sink on, keep your shoulders relaxing down. So I hope you can, well actually, hopefully the goal is that you didn't feel any different when you had the toe on the ground or off the ground. If that's happening, if you don't feel any real difference, if they both feel really centered, well then you're doing really well with your balance, your grounding. But probably for a lot of you, when your toe is on the ground, you feel a lot more stable, a lot more calm, everything's relaxing and sinking. When your foot comes off the ground, all of a sudden you just feel that little bit of extra kind of tension coming through the body to hold your balance. So that means you've still got something to learn from that toe being on the ground. So do it both ways when you're practicing that move. Warm up with the toe on the ground, bring it back. You can even just do it like that if you want. You see, just repeating it, reversing it, like a ballet practice. You see? And then, you know, do like 5 reps, and then on the last rep, try to keep your foot off the ground and see, ooh, that time it worked, you know? So every now and again, you might get a perfect rep where your foot's off the ground and it still feels perfectly balanced. So yeah, doing things like easier and more difficult can really help you to know which way you should be doing them, side by side like that. I don't need that blanket there. I think that was for Mummy last night because she was cold. Good morning, Clara.
Good morning.
All right. Where are we? Okay, hang on a second. Any questions? Oh, headbutt me in the face.
I just want to say, I don't think I've got a clue how to do single whip, but I can do that. I've learned that.
Oh, yeah, fantastic. See, Gabby, you taught him some good moves. Well done.
Gabby is my new seafood.
Excellent. Well, if you live long enough, she might genuinely be that.
I won't be in the slightest bit surprised with either of your two darling girls.
Yeah, that's the goal. You're loving doing your Tai Chi now, aren't you, Gabby, Clara and Gabby? They love doing their stick training and their mitt work. They love punching Papa in the face. One of the best things to get your kids into doing martial arts is just get them into, where's my screen gone? Cartoons that are involving martial arts. These both love, their main one, martial art based, is the Last Airbender, Avatar: The Last Airbender. And that's great because they actually do specifically Taiji and Bagua in that, the kids doing the stuff. And so it looks very similar to what I'm doing, even if it's a bit extra flamboyant for the film. But they see it and they're like, oh, look, Papa's doing airbending, look. And I want to learn that because that's what Aang does. That's what the airbender does. So it's, yeah, a really helpful way to get them inspired and, you know, excited about doing those sort of things. Shut up.
When I was younger, it was Hong Kong Fui in the Hong Kong Book of Kung Fu. Do you remember him?
Yeah, cool.
Ah.
Were there any questions about those stepping movements?
Just it's funny the way when I was doing that just now. So even if you prepare to go into it,
yeah,
the minute you pull a single whip with your, there it is. It's right there.
Yeah, that compression.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because see that exactly that downward thing. Yeah. It's not just about lifting the leg. That downward movement actually compresses the core as well, and then it's like it's setting it up to lift the leg up. Yeah. Nice.
Really good.
Yeah, cool.
Really good. Cool.
All right then, guys. That's it for me for today. Saturday morning, 7 a.m. is our next class. See you soon. Okay, go on then, Gabby. Go on then, Gabby.
Okay.
Go on, flip over, quick. Oh, sorry. Thank you for telling me my camera was in the way. Go on, do your flip over. Good job.
Bye-bye.
That was brilliant, Gabby. Well done. Okay, see you later, guys.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.